Okay, checking my. All right, so I have a few things I want to go in order on because there were some articles that came out right before the part about things getting dismissed from the lawsuit. So we're gonna start with that. We're gonna start with her family and what they had filed back in May, and then the FBI actually released some more details. Then it gets to the part where the judge is dismissing the case against the FBI, the lawsuit against the FBI. So we're working our way that way. So, all right, so let's get started. Okay. All right. So first, back in I think this was May 14th, 2025 is when WCNC posted that there were new court filings in the $100 million Shanquella Robinson federal lawsuit. It says the Robinson family claims negligence in the FBI's handling of Shanquella Robinson's death investigation as they pursue a $100 million lawsuit. A federal judge in Charlotte heard arguments Wednesday in a high profile civil case tied to the death of 25-year-old Shanquella Robinson, a Charlotte woman who died in October 2022 while vacationing with friends in Cabo San Lucas, Mexico. The lawsuit filed by her mother, Salamandra Robinson, names as plaintiffs the FBI, the U.S. Department of State, and six of Shanquella's travel companions, and y'all know them as the Cabo Six. The suit seeks $100 million in damages and accuses the federal agencies of negligence in their handling of the investigation into her daughter's death. Quote, I think the court understood the heart of the matter, which is exactly that, said Sue Ann Robinson, who is leading Salamandra Robinson's legal team and is not related to the family. The family is looking for answers for transparency. Attorneys representing the federal government argued in court for the lawsuit to be dismissed. The FBI previously said it could not move forward with charges due to a lack of sufficient evidence and ultimately ruled Shanquella's cause of death as inconclusive. Sue Ann Robinson filed a request to gain access to all evidence in the case and to have Shanquella's personal belongings returned. Government lawyers emphasize that more than 4,000 pages of documents and over 2 hours of video are still being reviewed. They cited privacy laws and procedural delays as reasons for the time taken. Sue Ann Robinson said they know better than anyone else. They are the investigative agency for the country. They know what it takes and they know what time and delay does to evidence and that it can lead to spoilage of evidence. Sue Ann Robinson said enough time has already passed without justice or accountability. The fact that they are further delaying turning over the information to the family is negligent and makes me think there is an issue involved. The legal debate on Wednesday also turned to where this case should be tried. Attorneys for some of the Cabo Six are not only asking for dismissal, but also requesting that the case be moved to Mexico if it proceeds. Salamandra Robinson's legal team strongly disagrees. A United States citizen should not be allowed to go overseas, harm, or be involved in harming another United States citizen and come back to the U.S. and essentially say that they are on base, that they are not going to be held liable, accountable, or responsible, Sue Ann Robinson said outside of the court. She countered that a trial in Mexico would be costly, legally complex, and unfair due to language barriers and the absence of jury trials in the Mexican legal system. It would be burdensome for cost, burdensome for travel, and the Mexican litigation system is completely different. There's no jury, she said. Hey, y'all that are coming in. Okay. Sue Ann Robinson, who is the lawyer, just in case you're coming in, Sue Ann Robinson is the lawyer. She has the same last name. She's not related to Shanquella's family. She argued that the six people who were present when the assault occurred are all located in the United States and should be required to testify here. She emphasized that the conspiracy and cover up into Shanquella's death also happened here in the U.S. The convenient forum would be where all six individuals who were present in the room when the crime occurred for them to be heard and give their testimony and have their day in court here, she added. Outside the courtroom, the attorneys representing some of the travel mates declined to speak in detail. Shanquella's father, Bernard Robinson, was also present. He was in the courtroom during the hearing. All I can do is stand here on Shanquella and talk, be her mouth, be her voice, because she didn't deserve this at all, he said. Justice will be served, and nobody can tell me it won't be served, and sometimes it takes a while. At this time, okay, the article I'm reading right now, I just wanted to give y'all about the lawsuit and about how the Cabo Six were trying to, a lot of them were trying to get it tried in Mexico, if not dismissed. So this was back in May. Okay, now we're going to, there were new documents released around June 9th that were released by the FBI in communication with Mexico. I have two different articles about it to make sure I don't miss a detail in case one article didn't cover all of it. So this is the first one. I like this one because they kind of, the way they section it out makes it easy if you're not just following it the whole time. But it says, in the case of Shanquella Robinson, the FBI is making confidential court documents public. In March, the FBI released 100 pages of records about the police investigation pertaining to Robinson, who was just 25 years old when she died in Cabo San Lucas, Mexico. Robinson died in October 2022 while on vacation with the Cabo Six. It says, what information did the FBI unveil regarding Shanquella Robinson's case? One thing the legal paperwork uncovered was the course of action Mexico's authorities and the FBI took to evaluate the events that led to Robinson's death. It was noted that in January 2023, the FBI reached out to the Mexican prosecutor leading the case with 11 inquiries ranging from who owned the parcel where Robinson died to examining surveillance camera recordings and reviewing the 911 call audio. This action was taken 3 days before Daniel de la Rosa Anaya, the Attorney General of Baja California Sur, was scheduled to hold a press conference about the case. The prosecutor ignored the inquiry by failing to provide the FBI with answers despite sharing the declassified documents with them. During the news briefing, prosecuting attorneys stated they were seeking to arrest a culprit. An arrest warrant was granted for an unnamed suspect in November 2022, which was another notable discovery highlighted in the unsealed documents. Additionally, Mexican law enforcement examined the cell phone of Robinson's trip companions, but there were no tips on it relating to her death. Furthermore, the FBI interviewed a person soon after Robinson's death who said the group admitted to heavy drinking and tried to sober her up in the shower. And Shanquella Robinson's family filed two lawsuits seeking justice for their daughter. As Blavity reported, Robinson went on a trip with Dejanay Jackson, Elise Hyatt, Winter Donovan, Malik Dyer, Khalil Cook, and one other person. A video recorded by one of the male parties of the Cabo Six showed Robinson being assaulted by Jackson. That's Dejanay Jackson. She's also, just so y'all know, she's changed her name. I think it was like she changed it to, I'll have to look it up, but I feel like it was something like um, Amina, Ania. She changes to something, but she's trying to change her name from Dejanay, just so y'all know. Being assaulted by Jackson while she was allegedly inebriated. In the clip, which went viral, Robinson was completely naked while the other party repeatedly hit her in her head and neck area while yelling at her. No one helped her. Following the story making headlines, Jackson altered her name to, oh, there it goes, Amani Green. So she's altering her name to Amani Green, but her original name for the girl y'all saw in that video hitting Shanquella, her name's Dejanay Jackson, but now she's trying to go by Amani Green. In April, Robinson's mother, Salamandra, sued the Cabo Six, the FBI, and the U.S. State Department for $100 million, alleging the agencies were careless in investigating her daughter's death. In response, the federal government has moved to dismiss that suit. Separately, on the second anniversary of Robinson's death, the family brought a wrongful death lawsuit against the 6 people who traveled with her for the actions of Green, formerly Jackson, and those who sat back and witnessed it. The latter complaint asserts wrongful death, battery, negligence, conspiracy, and emotional distress claims. Defendants Hyatt, Donovan, Dyer, and Cook have all filed to dismiss or transfer the case to Mexico. On May 28th, Green filed for an extension of time to respond to Salamandra's lawsuit, and Green is Dejanay Jackson. Okay. Then it says, will the lawsuits against the Cabo Six move forward in the U.S. or Mexico? In May, the federal judge in Charlotte heard competing motions in the wrongful death case against the Cabo Six, on which On which country the lawsuit should proceed in, Sue Ann Robinson, the attorney representing the victim's family, argued the U.S. courts are the proper forum for the action. A United States citizen should not be allowed to go overseas, harm another U.S. citizen, come back to the U.S., and essentially say that they're off base, that they're not going to be held liable. She also mentioned how the stark differences between the two legal systems, hefty costs, and language barriers would strain Robinson's family if they were required to litigate in Mexico. Okay. So now we're going to, this is where it came out that the FBI had released further documents about Robinson's investigation. Okay, hold on one second. I'm scrolling down just a little bit. Okay, and this was WCNC Charlotte that said most of the documents are widely redacted, covering names and various details of information the FBI has gathered. Many of the details shown are procedural manners related to the case. However, some new details have been revealed in the documents. I'm skipping when they recap some of it because I read it about 2-3 times on this live. It says some of the most crucial details revealed in the documents include an FBI inquiry to a Mexican prosecutor about the case. The FBI asked 11 questions about the case in January 2023. The questions involved the identity of the owner of the property where Robinson died, security camera footage, 911 audio, medical examiner records, and more. And they did not get a response from the Mexican prosecutor. The email was dated just a few days before the Attorney General of Baja California Sur held a news conference about Robinson's death. And they released the warrant for an unnamed suspect. The Mexican officials issued an arrest warrant for an unnamed suspect. I'm reading both articles because sometimes one article will just use they, and it's not always clear who took action. So I'm just reading both to make sure we end up on the same page. The newest document was released on Tuesday. However, this was just a list of the deleted pages from the related FOIA request and showed no information. Bernard Robinson, Shanquella's father, said the pain is still raw since his daughter's death. He's hoping for more clarity on the investigation. What was on the pages, Bernard Robinson said, no one in this world who's got kids and daughters would want this done to their child and have to deal with this, not knowing what happened and why it happened. The FBI also interviewed at least one person shortly after Robinson's death. According to those records, the interviewee said the group told Mexican authorities they had been drinking heavily and at one point tried putting Robinson in the shower to sober her up. They also described one friend as being so upset they couldn't sleep or eat. Okay. Now this is where we get to the judge dismissing some of the claims. All right. So the headline of the article says federal judge dismisses some claims Shanquella Robinson's family made against FBI State Department. So at first I had some claims, but when I show y'all both articles, you'll see that it's for the FBI. They're kind of like they're done. It says a federal judge dismissed some claims by the family of Shanquella Robinson against the FBI and the State Department. Court records show they were suing for the $100 million. I'm going down because they recap a lot of the same things. I'm going down. Hold on. Okay, I'll go to this next article then. All right, so this one, WSOC TV reported judge dismisses Robinson's family's lawsuit against FBI and State Department. They don't use the word some. They just say the judge dismisses the family's lawsuit against the FBI and State Department. Okay, it says in a new federal court filing on Friday, Cogburn agreed with all 5 of the government's arguments to dismiss. The judge has not yet ruled on the Robinson family's lawsuit against the so-called Cabo Six. So that's where it says for the FBI, they're out. The FBI and the state no longer are part of the $100 million lawsuit. It is now down to just a civil lawsuit against the Cabo Six. So that's where it is now. And I was wanting to get this out to y'all because I know if I didn't do it soon, I would procrastinate. So I went live. It's not long, but that's where it is right now. So I just wanted to update y'all. And that's what's going on. I'm looking at some stuff on someone else I've been following. So I may be live again to give an update on that. But that's all I have for now. Just please turn on your notifications if y'all are interested in keeping up with some of these topics. And always, always, just keep praying for the family. I hate this. That means it'll never really, there will not be any real closure because, if the FBI and state aren't responsible anymore for doing a better, thorough investigation and doing something, then I don't even know how much the family's going to be able to prove when it comes to the Cabo Six. I've seen enough, at least for Dejanay Jackson at minimum, and the person holding the camera at minimum, to me, that I feel like there should be something, at least from the civil side, of just something. But we'll see. It's just not looking fair. It's not looking good on this one. But all right, y'all. I will see y'all probably later on this weekend. And let me know what y'all think in the comments.